Betrayed by my best friend when she stole my boyfriend and spread lies about me. I decided to expose her secrets. The truth would set me free, or so I thought. I, 23F, have lived with my cousin Rose and her husband Dumbo, both 33, for over a year for economical reasons. We have had a lot of issues, but I could handle them. 6 months ago, I began to realize that Dumbo was looking at me more. I've always been sure to wear appropriate clothing in front of him, and I've never even been without a bra outside of my room. Even so, I noticed that his eyes were going to other places constantly, like my boobs, ass, or more below. I thought that it was just my imagination, but just in case I started wearing around the house oversized hoodies and sweatpants and nothing body-fitting, but I still noticed that when we would have conversations, he would deliberately stare at other places. One night, as I was lying on the couch laughing at a video on my phone, he came up to me, asked what I was laughing at, and before I could answer, he bent down and put his head on my boobs at an angle he could look at the phone screen. I was in shock, and I am ashamed that I just let it happen. That's when I knew I had to tell someone, especially my parents, but I didn't have the courage, so I stuck it out. More comments were made, but the one that disgusted me the most was when he said, "Hey, is it me, or have your boobs gotten bigger?" I asked why the F he was looking at me that way and that he was so off for that, but he just laughed. I got the courage to tell my stepmom and dad, and they were both shocked. They said that I needed to move out ASAP, and that I also needed to talk to Rose about Dumbo's behavior, and I would also need to talk to Dumbo. It took a bit of pushing, but I finally got the nerve to sit down with Rose and tell her everything that had happened, and this was the reason I was moving. She said that she would talk to him, but in the end this was my problem with him, and I needed to fix it. I thought that after she spoke to him, he would come to me and apologize or say something at least, but that never happened. 2 days after I told Rose that I was expecting an apology on his behalf, and I was going to talk to him myself about everything. She said that would be useless because he said he was never going to talk to me again as he claims he did nothing and apologizing would mean him owning up to what I claimed happened. That both of them were going to wait until my dad was back in town so he could solve everything. He claims that I'm just trying to put my family against him and ruin his reputation. I left to go to work after that, but in my mental state, I forgot something, and when I came back, I caught her talking to her mom, them talking about how they didn't believe anything I had said, and that the 3 of them would tell my parents that I'm trying to divide the family. With 3 people ganging up against me, I am worried that they'll manage to change my parents' mind. I think I fucked up by bringing this whole thing up. I may have just ruined my whole relationship with everyone, possibly ruined a marriage. And in the end, I'm starting to even doubt my own judgment on what could have just been a misunderstanding. I fucked up by not staying quiet. I'll update if it's requested. Comments where Op has replied. Commenter 1, stick to your guns. You don't need anyone who won't stand by you when you tell the truth. You know who they are now. Oop, I know the truth. But man, when it's 3 people, including the wife of this Dumbo, trying to bring you down, it's hard. Thanks for your words. Commenter 2, you could probably reconstruct when this happened from your phone history. If possible, similarly figure out the dates and times of other instances of harassment. These things are more convincing when they're documented with times, especially if, for example, they always happen during your cousin's working hours and days. If nothing else, it'll feel good to have it solidly documented, and more easily shared if you ever need to do so to defend yourself from accusations of slander. I don't primarily mean legally here, but socially, just in case it's unclear. Oop. I only noticed 6 months ago. What I can say for anyone who wants details is that he only does this when my cousin isn't close by, for instance when she's in the room or bathroom. I have noted down for myself all the situations I have remembered because I wanted to be as sure as possible before bringing to light something this delicate. It's just when it's 3 against 1 you begin to doubt yourself. Update 1, November 2nd, 2024. Well, I'd like to say thank you to everyone that took the time to comment on my last post. It's because of you that I finally saw that I was not fucking up, even though now my relationship with basically my whole family is. Unfortunately, the result was not a pretty one. I spoke to my parents and the whole conversation was just off. To begin with, they don't understand why it took me so long to speak up. I tried explaining that for me, this is a very sensitive topic, and on top of that, I was scared of how everyone would react. Second, it is well known that I usually have a very strong attitude and don't have an issue with telling people to fuck off or standing up for myself, which in their eyes makes it strange that I wasn't able to do that with Dumbo. Yes, I don't have a problem with doing that to people that have no major impact on my life, And to be honest, even today I'm asking myself why I didn't react this way with him. Although I wanted to, I just couldn't bring myself to do it, but I also know that if I did, Dumbo and Rose would run off to my parents complaining about how disrespectful I am, and it would have been messy either way. Third, they say things don't add up because in the end, I never took their advice, which was to remove myself from the situation, and second, to have a conversation with Rose and Dumbo. I have found a nice place to live as of December 1st, and I spoke to Rose as I honestly didn't want, nor did I feel comfortable speaking to her husband in the beginning. Like I said in the first post, when I told Rose I was going to speak to Dumbo, she said no, because he wasn't going to listen and she agrees that we have nothing to talk about. I explained this to my parents, but they weren't having it. They said that I need to face Dumbo, as he is the one causing the issue for me. I told them very clearly that I wasn't going to force him to sit down and listen to me, but according to them, that is exactly what I should be doing. My dad says that at the end of the day, I don't know what Dumbo's intentions were, and this won't get solved until he and I talk it out. That a lot of people look at me, and it's not that big of a deal. He's angry that I've done nothing to solve this matter myself. And even if I know that Dumbo won't listen, that's not the point. The point is trying. I reminded him that he wasn't just looking, it was constant comments, staring, and putting his head on my boobs. I told him once again that I wasn't going to force a grown man to listen to me. But he kept on saying that I wasted their time by not taking their advice. Finally, my parents ended it by saying that because I haven't been transparent with them and it seems like I basically wasted their time, then that is how they'd like to keep our relationship, with a wall up. I had prepared myself to take a step back from my parents if needed, but the fact that they did it because I wasted their time just hurts. I feel like they went into this convo with a mindset of not believing me, and nothing I could have said would have changed that. Just the fact that they're telling me to force this man that's 10 years older than me to sit down and listen, knowing damn well that because I don't want to be alone with him, his wife would have to be there, and she'd be jumping down my throat every 2 seconds, is like telling me to flip a hot pancake with no gloves and to try to not get burnt, knowing damn well that I will. He never offered to be moderator. I had a feeling that this would have been the result, so in a way I do feel like I did fuck up. In the end, Rose and Dumbo are perfectly happy, or so it seems. They both still have a great relationship with my parents. My relationship with all of them is messed up, and I'm feeling pretty depressed. Once I move out completely, I will be in a better mental state. I won't have any toxic people in my life. I'll be saving money, as the new place is a lot cheaper, and most importantly, I know that I still have people that love and support me, even if it's very few. Once again, thank you to everyone that gave me words of support on my last post. It means so much. Update 2, November 9th, 2024. I didn't expect to be updating again. I thought that everything had ended when my parents blocked me, but no. Since my last post, my parents still have me blocked, but only on social media. They have been calling me since and telling me that it's up to me to make this right. That basically my entire family is mad at me for trying to destroy the family dynamics. That because I still haven't confronted Dumbo, they all think that I am lying and blew what could have been a simply awkward moment into a big deal, so that I could have a proper reason to move out and be independent. According to them, unless I speak to Dumbo face to face, I will have proven their theory of simply lying to get out of the house with anyone questioning it. They have made it clear that they think I have fucked up by bringing this to light, and if I choose not to confront Dumbo, they will proceed to have me blocked and will have me marked as a liar. Oh my God, the pressure I have been under to speak to this man has been making me sick at this point. Yes, I could simply block my parents on everything as well, but that wouldn't stop them from showing up to my house, and I'm too much of a coward to do so anyway. Even though I'm freaking out, I've decided to talk to Dumbo tonight once I get the courage to do so, just to get my parents off my back, because I can't handle another phone call with them where they accuse me of being a liar. Deep down, I know I didn't fuck up by telling my family about Dumbo harassing me, but I swear to God that if I had known everything that was to come out of this, I would have simply moved out and kept my mouth shut. Any advice is needed, and I deeply appreciate those that personally messaged to check up on me after my first post. Comments where Op has replied. Commenter 1, I am genuinely so fucking sorry this is happening to you. I don't have much in the way of advice, but I hope you know that you're not in the wrong and you're not a bad person for speaking up. Don't let them tell you otherwise. Oop. I'm freaking the fuck out. I really don't feel comfortable talking to this guy, but on the other hand, if I don't, the only family I have here will basically turn on me. I'm locked in my room till I get the courage to talk to him. Commenter 2, do not talk to this person alone, but also not with your family. They are shit and will gang up on you. Please bring an outside friend and record it if you can. You really shouldn't even talk to this person and be moved on to your own place and have everyone blocked they are not looking out for you. Stay safe and good luck. Oop. I'll be recording everything. Update 3, November 10th, 2024. To begin, I'd like to thank all of those that have given me advice and shown support during this hard time. It's given me more strength than you know. I've been asked some questions, so I'll answer a few. One, why did I wait 6 months to bring this up? This is a very serious accusation to bring up. I wanted to be absolutely sure that I wasn't imagining anything and that I was sure of this. I was also terrified of how my family would react. 2, why didn't I speak to Dumbo from the very beginning? I didn't have the courage and didn't know how he'd react, so I went to my parents for guidance. 3, why didn't I bring this up until after I moved out? Simple, I thought my parents would have my back. Now to the update. After my last post, I spoke to Dumbo. Even though many advised me not to, I caved and I confronted him. I recorded the entire conversation like many suggested and even made sure to send it to a few people just in case. Dumbo was quiet the whole time I spoke and apologized even though he admits he stands by the fact he did nothing. His wife, my cousin Rose, was laughing, snorting, and making side remarks the whole time. The urge to tell her to fuck off was big, but I didn't want to make things worse for myself. The conclusion of our talk was this. They don't want to move on from this, but we will be civil. We will keep communication to a minimum until, and after I move, he will make sure to never be alone around me. And lastly, that our conversation was basically pointless, and that even if I had spoken to him first place like everyone said, he says the result still would have been the same, meaning we would all be divided. I told my parents all of this morning as they wanted to know how the talk went. And even though I told them this was all said by Dumbo, they still said that I was trying to justify my reasons for not wanting to have the conversation with him. And basically they think I only caved into this to prove that I wasn't lying, because in the end I never showed any signs of abuse or said anything. They have made clear that I have dived the whole family and that it's going to take time for them to heal from the pain and distress I have caused, and that in the future, my family may or may not reach out to me again. After all of this, my biggest fuck up was how I went about this. I should have waited until I was in my new place and away from these people. At least that way a lot of this could have been avoided. Many have said that because I am 23, I am old enough to deal with this alone. To those who said this, thank you. I have learned that family will not always be there to back you up. Speaking up will never be a fuck up, but the way you go about things most definitely can be, as you can see here. If I had done, said, or acted in a few different ways, I think the outcome could have been a bit different. In the end, I know I still have people that love and support me. My move-out date is just around the corner, and eventually my mental health will be okay. In the meantime, I will focus on packing and being around those I love. Thank you once again for all your support. This will be my final update. Comments where Op has replied. Oop on her parents, not believing her at all. Oop. You honestly couldn't have said it better. They have their minds set on what they believe. I'm not going to waste my time trying to change it. It's been shown that no matter what happens, they find a way to make this my fault. Commenter 1. The way your parents still found a way to turn what Dumbo said as you making excuses for yourself is incredible. Unfortunately, family won't always stand by you, and I'm so sorry you've had to go through this. At least there are still people that love you. I'm sure you haven't had time to properly process this whole shit show, but please, once you move out and settle in, please take the time to grieve. In the end, this is still a loss. Sending you so much support, and I'm proud of you. Oop. Thank you for your support. With time, I will take time and process. Next story. Stayed silent for 2 months and collected evidence after finding out my wife was cheating. She's mad when I confronted her, but I felt nothing. Hello, everyone. My 30M wife, 34F, and I have been together for 8 years, 5 of them married. I thought we were the kind of couple that could tell each other any problem. I loved her deeply and always believed she felt the same way about me. Like many couples, we had our ups and downs, but I never thought it could lead to infidelity. For months ago, I started noticing changes in her behavior. She was more distant, always glued to the phone, and avoiding our conversations. You know, the typical thing about a cheating person. Well, one day, I came across a message on her phone that confirmed what I feared the most. She was seeing someone else. It was like a punch in the stomach. I felt anger, sadness, and an overwhelming sense of betrayal. But instead of confronting her right away, I decided to wait. My main reason was to protect myself in a possible divorce. If I was going to face this situation, I wanted to have solid evidence, so I spent the next 2 months gathering messages, photos, and anything else I could use if things got legally difficult. During those 2 months, I pretended normality while the pain piled up. I watched her act like everything was fine, and with each passing day, my feelings for her faded. The love I once felt was replaced by indifference. If anyone says that love for someone doesn't go away, well, it's not entirely true. When I finally gathered all the evidence, I confronted her. I showed her everything I knew, and although she tried to deny it at first, she finally admitted that she had been having an affair. She said it was a mistake, that she still loved me, and that she wanted to work things out. But by then, I didn't feel anything anymore. I didn't scream, I didn't cry, I didn't even get angry. I simply told her that it was okay, that we could get a divorce, and that we could each move on with our lives. My lack of emotion baffled her. She said my indifference was cold and cruel, and that if I had truly loved her, I should have fought to save our marriage, which was ironic coming from her. But the truth was that I did love her, very much. Only after 2 months of living with the betrayal and silence, I just didn't care. Update 1, September 16th, 2024. Wow. Honestly, I didn't expect the number of messages I've received in the last few hours. I apologize for not responding to the comments, but rest assured, I am reading them. My inbox is filled with hundreds of replies, and I'm truly surprised by the support and the number of people who took the time to share their experiences and opinions. At first, I felt overwhelmed reading so many stories from people who have gone through similar situations, some even worse. I never imagined that so many people could relate to what I'm going through. I guess it's eye-opening to see that infidelity is more common than I thought. And yes, there were also comments that made me question if I disconnected emotionally too quickly, but after reflecting, I believe I did what I needed to do to protect myself. Some people told me I should have tried to save the marriage, but the truth is I don't think I could have. The betrayal felt like a wall that went up between us. And once I saw everything clearly, there was no way to go back to what we had. It's not that I don't want to love or be loved. It's just that the chapter with her is over for me. Does that make me cruel? I don't know, but it's my truth. One of the most impactful things was seeing how many people are stuck in relationships where trust has been broken and they don't know how to move forward. To everyone who asked how I'm doing it, I don't have a definitive answer. For me, it was a slow process, day by day, watching the love fade until it was just gone. There were also some messages from people in my wife's position, those who had made mistakes, but genuinely wanted to make things right. It made me think, what would have happened if I had confronted her before my feelings faded? Maybe things would have turned out differently, but honestly, I don't think so. Once trust is broken like that, it's nearly impossible to go back to what it was. Anyway, I want to thank everyone who shared their words, whether they were supportive or critical. You've given me a lot to think about, and I'm grateful for that. I'm processing all of this little by little. But if there's one thing I'm sure of, it's that, for the first time in months, I feel like I can breathe and look forward without the weight of what happened. Thanks again. Update 2, October 29th, 2024. Hi everyone, for those of you who don't know, I'm the guy whose wife cheated on him with someone else, and he became indifferent. I'm doing this mini update because many of you asked me to give one, but I'm lazy today, so don't expect a long one. Well, for starters, the divorce is in progress. The notice was delivered to her at one of her friend's houses, since the house we live in is mine, from my mother's side. Moving on to the divorce, she didn't take it well and called me to tell me that she would contest it, that we weren't getting a divorce. I didn't say anything, I just hung up because it bothered me to hear her voice at that moment. I read comments that say indifference is a way to protect yourself from strong emotions, and they were right. After a couple of days, I started thinking about the time invested in my marriage, and I really got angry. For her, 8 years of relationship was nothing to open her legs to another jerk. For those curious, her lover is someone older, maybe 40 or 47, and he has a wife and kid. I don't care if the idiot has a heart attack or something, my soon-to-be ex and that guy are just trash that came out of the same landfill. Sorry, I was getting angry as I was writing, so I took some time to calm down. Back to my soon-to-be ex. I really don't care if she decides to contest the divorce. She's just making things harder for herself. Since all of our assets are separate, including the house where I live. For the moment, that's all I can share with you. Thanks for your advice. And to all of you who commented that I should work things out with her, screw you. You don't decide for others. You just show that you have problems. I'd rather divorce 1,000 times than stay with a traitor with no morals.